lecture. Unfortunately, there's no camera in the middle of the classroom for me to use, so there will not be a camera for the lecture recordings. But I don't think that's a big deal. All right, so we're open here. All right, E301, right? We're all in the right place? I'm in the right place? Okay. All right, so today we're just going to do course introduction. So not really new material, but we will start new material. Well, actually, it shouldn't be really new material for you guys. We are starting off with review. But on Wednesday, we'll do combinational logic, which I think most of you are familiar with, yes? You know what an AND gate is? Yeah. So it'll all come back, right? Okay. So in today's session, I'll introduce myself. We'll go over the learning outcomes for the course. We'll do an overview of the course calendar. This could change slightly. It's not like set in stone that we're going to do this week exactly. We may need to maybe give you guys a lab extension or however we need to do any changes. But if we need to make changes, we'll make changes. I'm going to go over what the lectures and labs are for, the grading breakdown. I actually don't have a slide on academic integrity, but that standard paragraph is in the syllabus. And I'm going to give you guys a link to download the tools for the course, which is Vivado Design Suites. Okay, so we'll start off with introducing myself. So I am Justin. Have any of you taken a course with me before? I don't recognize any of you guys. Okay, so do call me Justin. Do not call me Professor Morris. Do not call me Professor. Do not call me Professor Justin. Just Justin. Are we clear? Okay, so I will tell you guys this never works. Always I'm still called Professor or something like that. Please, let's make this the first semester where it works. Can we try? All right, because just my 7:30 a.m. class, I said the same thing. First person to raise their hand and I call on them, what do they call me? Justin. No, they called me Professor. They got it wrong. And I told that story to my 8:30 a.m. class and they still called me Professor. So let's break the trend. I prefer Justin. Through email, everything, okay? So I signed my email as Justin, so that's what I prefer. All right, so for email though, it is just my standard email. It is my full name because there, I believe, is another Morris on campus. So we have very similar emails. So I put my full name as the extension. And then the additional extension, if you guys would like to use it, I would prefer that you use it is to add this plus EE301 and also add EE301 to the email subject line so that it goes through my filters, goes to the appropriate folder where I know it's for this course. Okay? I don't expect email to be the primary resource of communication between us, though. So, but some students prefer it over the alternative method that I'll show you guys today. And my office is in VEP 6018. Office hours are on the syllabus, but it is 12:30 to 2:30 on Wednesdays. So basically after this class with like an hour in between. But don't worry if that time does not work for you. We can do like by appointment. Just let me know a little bit ahead of the time. Don't ask for like a meeting the same day, right? And if you have questions like the due date of a lab or a homework, I will try to answer through Piazza. But if you're waiting until that last minute, you might not get a response in time. Just keep that in mind. Okay? We're all good with that? Okay. All right, so I went to Del Norte High School, so I'm local. How many of you guys know this place? Okay. So it's technically part of North County, but it's like the southern part of North County, because North County is just north of the 56. But I've lived in San Diego my whole life. I used to live in Lemon Grove. Any of you guys know where that is? So yeah, very far south. I know some students drive from Lemon Grove, which is insane to me, but
I live in Spring Valley. So.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, we moved to Poway when I was like 7, and my parents still live there. I live in Mira Mesa now. I cannot afford a house in Poway. They're like $2.5 million now. It's insane. So I did my bachelor's at UCSD. So like many of you do and commute here, probably live at home. I did the same thing. Saves quite a lot of money. I finished in 2018. My degree was in computer engineering. So basically exactly this class, right? It's the cross between computer science and electrical engineering. And I did my PhD also at UCSD, but I also had an additional advisor from SDSU. And I still do my research, and I collaborate with my previous advisors, as well as some students from the same PhD group at UCSD. We work on machine learning, but we specifically focus on lightweight machine learning. We do hardware acceleration, mostly towards that same lightweight machine learning algorithm, but we have done work in the past on other applications like bioinformatics. We specifically did DNA sequencing. And then I also do work on emerging computing technologies. So going beyond the von Neumann architecture, because Moore's law is dead. We have some focus all over the area, but I specifically focus more on processing in memory. So rather than moving the data from memory to, say, like a CPU, you can compute directly on the memory in place. All right. So this field of research is increasingly important with the death of Moore's law, right? So we still want to get better performance year over year, but we can't just pack more transistors on processors anymore. So we need more clever ideas on how to accelerate applications now. All right, for teaching. So before I taught as a tutor, TA, and instructor of record at UCSD. I taught these courses. So CSE 140 and 140L is exactly this course. It's the Introduction to Digital Logic. And then 141, 141L, and I don't think, I already scanned. I don't think any of you guys took CS 331 with me, but that is this course as well. And CS 331 is also a course I teach here. And I'm actually from the CS department. I'm not from the electrical engineering department. I just am teaching this course because it's kind of the intersection and it's my expertise. And then 142 is the alternative course to 141 at UCSD. It is a course that I designed with Professors Leo Porter and Steve Swanson during my PhD. And this is computer architecture for software engineers rather than computer architecture for electrical engineers or computer architects. So many of the students complained about the architecture course, saying that they don't utilize the skills that they learn. So we made this new course. Because many of our students and many of the CS students here are going into programming jobs, not so much of embedded systems or CPU architecture design with a company like Qualcomm or Intel. So that's why they have the 2 courses available now, and we're potentially going to bring this second course here as well. And then CSE 15L is Introduction to Computing Tools and Techniques. So that's where we introduce them to GitHub. We all know GitHub. Yeah. Unix, and then some software engineering tools too that you guys might not know, like Jira. All right, and in terms of other courses I'm teaching here, so I'm teaching this course, which is, again, the equivalent to 140. And I'm teaching CS 331, which is equivalent to 141 and 142. And I'm also teaching CE 100. So if you are interested in, say, switching to CE major, potentially, you might run into me again in CE 100. But I don't expect that that would be enticing to many of you because you're later on already, right? You're already in E301. So those are the courses that I'm teaching and have taught. All right. So this is a picture from last year. This is me and my wife. Her name is Stephanie. And these are 3 of our cats. I don't have updated pictures. We just got more cats not too long ago. 2 of them we volunteered to take because my friend, he was moving and his new apartment says no animals. So he had to get rid of his cats. So we took it. But then the 3rd new cat, I actually found this cat on Saturday. It was in the parking lots of our townhouse complex. And we've posted online. It has no microchip. We think it's an abandoned cat. So I guess we have adopted a 6th cat. Yeah, because we have these 3, plus the 2 that I took from my friend, and now this random orange cat that I just found in the parking lot. All right, so I'll tell you their names. So this is me, and me translates to rice or noodle, depending on the language. And then kimchi. So we all know what kimchi is. And then this is nori, and we all know what nori is. Yes? So you see the theme. This is taro. So they're all food. All the cats that we named, they're all food. And this is Ninja. So Ninja is, again, from the same friend that had to move before. He had this dog. And at this point, I've had Ninja longer than he had Ninja. But now Ninja lives with my parents. My dad had surgery and he had 3 months of recovery. He asked for a Ninja. He likes Ninja and Ninja likes him. And he's been done with the surgery recovery for 6 months now, but I have not received Ninja back. So Ninja is now my dad's dog, but we still have Taro. All right. So that is about me, but to go more into the course. So course resources, textbooks. So this is actually false. This is the old textbook. We have a new textbook series. It's actually 3 textbooks. And if you look at the syllabus, it's actually free for you guys. So on Canvas, Library Reserve tab, that's your textbook. You'll see all 3 of them there. That's where you should be accessing it and reading from it. You don't have to access it from the Library Reserve. I just think it's convenient, like through Canvas. You can access it through the Library Reserve through the library's website if you want to. But on Canvas, it's basically the same browser through the Canvas area. And it just opens for you automatically. So, and you're going to have reading and reading quizzes on Canvas. So these quizzes are unlimited tries. This is the first time I'm running it this way. So if it doesn't give you unlimited tries, please tell me. It should give you unlimited tries. But I encourage you, if you do get one wrong, don't just try again immediately. Just look back, look for that, because it's directly referenced from the reading. So you should be able to find the answer. All right, so Canvas. So grades are going to be uploaded to Canvas. We have two separate canvases, right? One for the lecture, one for the lab. So all of the lecture material will be uploaded to the lecture canvas. All of the lab material will be uploaded to the lab canvas. And then quizzes, other items, I'll also upload them to the files tab in the lecture canvas. And the other thing is we are going to use Gradescope. So I will upload your quizzes to Gradescope. You don't have to really do anything. You'll just see your quiz and you'll see it graded afterwards. You'll see the score, some comments on why you got the score, right? And then once it's on Gradescope, I'll migrate that grade into Canvas. So that's where I'll ask you to just double check that these are the same. Because sometimes it doesn't migrate properly, or if you're not matched by your student ID, like for some reason, some students have a longer or shorter student ID, and it doesn't match properly with the integrated tool on Canvas. So if that's the case, I just have to know, and I'll manually move your grade over. But you'll see it as a 0. Don't be concerned if you see that. What you see on Gradescope is the true one. Okay? I just need to know if it's different. All right. So I mentioned I don't expect you guys to use email. It's because I expect you guys to use Piazza. So Piazza is our discussion board. So I like Piazza for many reasons, better than the Canvas discussion board. But one of the main reasons is you can be not just anonymous to your classmates, you can be anonymous to me on Piazza. So you have the option to say that you want to be anonymous to the instructor as well. So it should help kind of release tension. Like there should be no stress in asking any question in the course. Okay. And I would also encourage you to ask questions as public posts, so that when I answer, everyone can benefit from that answer. But if your question involves looking at your code, do make it private. Because if you're posting your code, that would be academic integrity violation. Okay. All right, so what will you learn? So we are going to learn tools and techniques for digital logic design. We're using Vivado Design Suites. So you're going to start with the design of combinational circuits, and then we'll get into sequential circuits. And by the end, you should know how to design a digital system, test and validate the design. You will for sure know how to do this because that is your final project. You will be designing a digital system and testing and validating it. And some other kind of skills that you would be picking up along the way is we have a lab on HLS. So HLS is high-level synthesis. So throughout all of your labs, you're going to be writing the hardware design language code by hand. But you'll learn that there is this tool, high-level synthesis, where you can describe your algorithm in structured C code, and then put that into this tool, and it'll give you the HDL design for it. We'll also teach you unfolding and pipelining that you can use for your final project. Okay, so here's the calendar. So again, we're going to be doing introduction, and we'll do review in the beginning. And we have kind of bi-weekly quizzes, and labs are weekly, approximately. So like here, you see the first quiz is week 3. Second quiz is week 5. Right? So third quiz is when? Week 7. So when we have a quiz, it is going to be at the beginning of class. So do show up to class on time, especially on the quiz days, because you'll just have the first 20 or 25 minutes, however much time I give you, of the class time to work on the quiz. Because we do have quite a lot of content to get through, so I will need the lecture time to get through the lecture material. Okay? And we'll try and do like a set quiz day. Like last semester we did Wednesdays was our set quiz day. But I think we may want to change that up because you guys have lab on Wednesdays now, correct? So we'll see. But we can have you guys kind of drive that discussion of when you would prefer the quizzes. So actually, I'll ask you now, when do you prefer the quiz day to be?
Monday.
Monday? Any objection to Monday? I hear mostly Monday. I'm sorry for my Wednesday friend over here. We're a democracy. So, all right. So for lectures, it's actually this place and time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I need to update this slide. It used to be 1 3-hour-long session, but I've requested this split up section. Attendance is recommended, but not required, but it is required to get that 10% participation in lecture. And then the purpose of lecture is to introduce the concepts through presentation and in-class examples. And you are going to utilize these concepts in the labs, as well as like on the quizzes, okay? And we are going to use Poll Everywhere in the lectures. So you're going to answer some review questions to just check your knowledge as we go. And the grade for lecture participation is just on completion. So there's no stress in, I have to get this question right. You just have to participate and do your best. Okay? All right, for the labs. So this is the main part of the course in that this is the main skill I want you to take away from the course, to be able to do the digital logic design. So lab times, it needs to be updated. It's Wednesdays. You have it on Wednesdays with Mark. And Mark is asking you to submit your lab reports to Canvas on the lab Canvas. And you will work in pairs. Your partner will be assigned to you for all of the labs, except for the final project. The final project, you can choose your partner. Okay? And we might do groups of 3. We have more students this time around. We'll decide later on. We don't have to decide until the last month and a half of the course. But do expect to work with a partner, okay? It is required, not recommended. And then if you do have a personal computer that can run the Vivado Design Suite, usually it works out better than using the lab computer. But the lab computers do work. It's just for some labs, the permissions might be blocking you from, especially specifically last semester, we just had trouble with the HLS lab with the lab computers. So if you have your own laptop that you can bring, that's generally preferred anyways. Okay. All right, so quizzes. So again, at the beginning of lectures, bi-weekly, and like we discussed, we'll tentatively do Mondays. Okay. And so quiz material is going to focus mainly on the previous lab and lecture. So it wouldn't be on like that current week's material. You would have had time to work like with homework, the lab, and the lecture, like checkpoint questions. You should have some feedback on how well you're doing on that material before you get to the quiz. Okay? All right, so grading scheme. So labs. This is 4 units total, right? 1 unit is lab. So 1 out of 4 is 25% of your grade is labs. And then the final project, because it's also, you work on it during lab time, but you also get in lecture time to work on this project. So that's why it's an additional 20% of your grade. So about half of your grade is based on real digital logic design. Okay, so this is the skill that I want you to take from the course. Quizzes, these are going to be based on theory, as well as being able to do like fill in the blank or some written HDL, so hardware design language. So some parts of the quiz will be on the lab, but half of the quizzes will also be on like the theory from the lecture material. Okay? So usually there's 2 questions on the quiz. 1 question covers theory, 1 question covers the lab from the last week. And I will drop your lowest quiz. So this is also like a built-in of if you're sick or you can't make it to the lecture day where there's a quiz, you get 1 for free. You can miss it. Okay? All right, and then I'm adding homeworks to this semester. So homework is going to be 15% of your grade. Expect homeworks, again, about bi-weekly. So you'll have homework and then quiz on that same material. Yeah. So I couldn't tell you because this is the first time I'm doing them as required. I used to do them as just, it's recommended that you do them, but it's not part of the course grade. But I lowered the lab category and the project category, and I've added homework, essentially. But I wouldn't expect it to take that long because it's going to be covering the material that you need for the quiz. And again, the quiz is just going to be 1 question on theory, 1 question on the lab. But it's going to be different for every student anyways, too. And then the reading, so you'll be assigned reading, and you have a reading assignment for this Wednesday and this Friday. It's going to be 10%. And again, this quiz is on Canvas. It's on the quiz tab. You have unlimited tries for it. But it is graded on correctness. But you have unlimited tries. Okay. And what I will be trying to do is post the reading and the reading quizzes, as well as the lecture slides for the next week before we see each other on Friday. So that if you do have work or anything and you prefer to do all of the readings and looking ahead for the lectures during the weekend, you can do that. So if you come to class on Friday and you see on Canvas there's missing reading or lecture slides, you can bug me about it. Tell me after class. Okay? And then participation is 10%. So this is the poll everywhere questions that we are going to do pretty soon. But before we get there, so I'm using standard cutoffs. So 90 to 93.332 is an A minus. 93.333 and above is an A. There's no A plus at San Marcos. But you get what I mean by standard cutoffs, right? I have not needed to adjust this, but if I do need to adjust them, they would only be lowered. I wouldn't make it like suddenly you need a 95 to get an A, and 90 to a 95 is an A minus, or something like that. So it will only be lowered, but it will never be raised. But again, I've never done this. I've never had the need to. And the other thing that I ask you to do is, because we're going to be using these clear standard cutoffs, if you're at a 89.98, I am so very sorry, but please do not ask me to give that an A minus. Okay? But say you have an 89.98 and you look through your grade and you find that, oh, this grade scope grade is different than my Canvas grade. And if you change that for me, now I go to a 90.1 rather than 89.98. Do tell me that. Okay? But on the same thing, if I'm at 90.1 and I see that mistake on Gradescope and Canvas, and you do the calculation and it would change your grade to a 92.2, that doesn't change your grade, right? So there's no need to tell me. Okay, so towards the end, I just ask you to do that calculation. And if the calculation changes your grade, tell me. If it doesn't change your grade, again, I am so very sorry, but it didn't change your grade. Okay? And we are going to use the standard cutoffs. I will tell you otherwise, but most likely standard cutoffs. All right. So here is an example poll everywhere question, but I actually want to skip this question. So this question, which one is not a component of E301? So actually all of, there's no final exam. Okay. But what I want you guys to work on is this question. So I'm going to make the poll everywhere now. So the code is, here, 1 second. If you guys can see this. Oh, where'd it go? Where's my mouse? Okay, so this is your response URL. So pollev.com/JustinMorris540. So take a picture of this if you need it. But it's not open right now. So if you try to use it, it will say that there's nothing. So I need to make this. So give me a second and I'll tell you when it is made and open. But you can think about the question on your own for now. But do not discuss it with anyone yet. Okay, it is active. So the link should work now. And the one thing that I will ask you to do is once you are participating on the survey, 1 second. On the top right, it'll say responding as, and by default it is your first name and then the first letter of your last name with a dot. Please change that to your student ID. Okay, your question?
Can we see the address?
The link?
URL.
Oh, So it's, let me just move it over again. It's this one. So the link will stay the same throughout the semester. The only thing that will change are these 3 digits. So for today, it's 540. But once we start the whole EV question for that day, I'll just tell you what those 3 digits are. Okay? And again, please change the responding as to your student ID before you submit your answer to the question. And do think about this question on your own. Don't discuss with people just yet. Okay, so far I see 11 respondents. There are well over 11 people in this room. I just want to make sure that we are all set up so that we have no problems using this going forward. Okay, I think we've had enough time to think about this on our own. So now what I'll ask you to do is, with the people near you, discuss your opinion on these 4 statements and see if your number changes. And if you are convinced to change your answer, do change your answer.
So they can be.
Yes,
Okay, I know that we can talk about this topic all day, but we do have to go forward. So I just want to point out that this is something that we're going to be doing every single lecture of peer instruction. So you're going to do exactly what we just did. Answer it on your own, then discuss with the people around you, and change your answer if you're convinced to change your answer. So as loud as it was just now for discussing this silly topic, I want it to be the same volume for when we're discussing the lecture topics, okay? So did anyone have any interesting arguments about any of these topics? You guys all just agreed? Yeah.
I wasn't sure how dumpling, casserole, soup, and sandwiches were defined. So I went.
Well,
with
because
a zero.
the whole point is that they're not really defined.
Okay.
Like there's no right answer here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do any of these feel right? Okay. All right, so we are close on time. So I'll just share some interesting things that I heard specifically about a hot dog as a sandwich. So from the 7:30 a.m. class, one student said that a hot dog is more like a burrito. And so then I told that to the 8:30 a.m. class, and then someone said, no, it's not a burrito, it's a taco. So anyone want to add on to that discussion of relating the hot dog to Mexican food? All right, so I do want to then go. So this is the last slide, but don't leave just yet. We have a couple minutes. So this is the link I want you to follow to download Vivado Design Suite. You need quite a bit of room on your computer, something stupid like 200 gigabytes of free space. So if you cannot do this, it is okay. We will use the lab computers. But once it's installed, it only takes up like 50 gigabytes of space. So like a computer game nowadays. All right, so I do just want to look at the responses and make sure that we are using student IDs. So I'm going to see responses, open it up. And I'm sorry to keep you just 1 minute over, but I just want. Okay, so Peter,
Yeah, I'm
please.
finding out right now.
Yeah. Mireya, Marianne. I see I see your name, not student ID. And then I think someone puts their email. 2 people put email. So R Odar 024.
Yeah.
And then so can you put your student ID? And then Yamba Y Amba maybe, and then Kevin G. So please change it, responding as to student ID, not email or name. Okay. So we'll iron out these issues as we keep going, but most of you guys are good. Okay. So if you have any questions, I will be walking to my office. So if you have another class, do go to your next class. Yeah. It's on Canvas.
Under files?
Yeah.
That link is there too. I was about to ask.